This is actually an American ship at the Albert Harbor, so it's a U.S. Coast Guard vessel. It says on the gangplank it's the U.S. bark Eagle. And there's the figurehead, which would be an eagle as well. So, but it looks like it's a four-masted ship. There's an American flag and of course the Coast Guard insignia. And in the back you can actually see a cruise ship. What's interesting is it actually looks like they let people go on board to tour the thing, so I might try and do that. This is a closer look at the figurehead. There's actually a couple of sailing vessels and yachts and fishing boats in the background. And there's the anchor. See the deck up there, there's actually people on board. And there's the Coast Guard insignia, U.S. Coast Guard. There's actually a smokestack on it. I kind of wonder what power plant this type of thing has. But yeah, it says the U.S. Coast Guard bark the Eagle. I imagine there's some type of history behind the name of it. Background there's a cruise vessel. There's, you can see the American flag flapping in the wind. And all the rigging. The ship has actually been in the Albert Harbor a couple of days, so I kind of wonder what it's doing here. Maybe it's on some type of world tour or something. Here's a Coast Guard lifeboat, and you can see they're flying the Danish flag. I believe it's customary for ships to fly the flag of a country if they're in a country's port. So if this is in a port in Denmark, you'd be flying a Danish flag. There's a POW flag. I don't know what that flag behind the POW flag is with the stripes. Also interesting is it looks like there's some green shrubbery on the ropes of the mast. So not completely sure what the format is. There's the cruise ship behind it. This describes how the ship was actually acquired in God's name. Apparently it was taken at the end of the World War II from Germany as part of the war reparations, and I believe it was originally named the Horst Wessel, but they changed the name to Eagle. There's a picture of the ship with its full sail. This is a look up at the rigging of the ship. So this is the mainmast, and you can probably see the crow's nest up there. You can also see more of that mossy stuff on the lines. One of the crew members actually explained it to me, and apparently it's used as a type of buffer to prevent the sails from carrying themselves on the ropes. There's the ship's mainmast. There's another crow's nest up here. This is a look at the center of the ship. So that mast in the foreground is the main mast, and the mast back behind there is the aft mast. You can see the smokestack. There's the house on the bridge. Flags, West flag on top. There's the lifeboat is actually the gangplank over there. There's some of the rigging for the ship, so they use that to climb up to the very top. The sails up. This is the very front of the ship. So there's the bowsprit, and that netting's there is actually to catch anyone who would be foolish enough to go out there. You can see some canvas sails that have been wrapped up. You can also see, I believe that's the ship's jack, so blue flag with white stars to indicate the United States. And you can also see some of the, I believe they're Caspians or something like that that would be used to tie the ship to the port. You can see some of the lines that actually go down to the port right there. So just skip the edge here. So yeah, that's the cable that's holding the ship to the port. And behind me I actually see the machinery for the ship's anchor. So these would be the winches that are used to raise and lower the ship's anchor. And that's actually the ship's anchor chain right there. There's another anchor chain, so there's two anchors, one stuff. There's view from the front of the ship. You can see the road bridge, the drawbridges in the background. And there's Albert Harbor. There's some apartment buildings. There's a grain silo. And the coal plant's actually located over there, so one of Albert's major power plants. So this is the ship's bell, and it's located at the very front of the ship. You can actually barely make out the name Eagle on the bell. Looks like it's actually pretty well worn. I believe the bell is made of silver, and you can see beneath it there's the rope that's used to ring it. Obviously not going to ring it because they'll probably throw you off the ship if you do. But yeah. Oh, it looks like the tour is going to end in 10 minutes, so just take a few more photos and get off the ship. More rope, this time at the base of the aft mast. You can see how they neatly tie up the rope, and they use those pins at the top there to keep the rope in place. You can see some winches in the back there. You can see even more rope is actually tied up next to the mast. There's actually a cable there, which I imagine leads to the crow's nest to provide electricity and power up there, or possibly for the communication. There's a cable that I believe is actually attached to the main mast, and this is one of the larger ropes over here. And here's some of the canvas sail that's been wrapped up. And this looks like it's actually a ship's galley, so there's some sinks. Actually looks like it's where they clean the ship's dishes. There's a garbage disposal down there. There's a whole bunch of junk and cleaning supplies, rubber gloves. There's a soap dispenser. And a look inside the bridge, so you can see the computers and stuff. It looks like there's actually some charts in the cabinet there. So this would be probably where they command the ship from. It's interesting that even on this sailing ship they still have computers and modern technology. This is a look through one of the windows. This actually looks like it's a damage control station. So you can see all the firefighting helmets. This section is of course blocked off to people visiting the ship, but still interesting to see. And there's a bunch of charts. Imagine there are charts that show the schematics of the ship. Actually looks like there's an air conditioner up there. That's interesting. This is one of the ship's compasses, and it's actually located at the very stern of the ship. Next to that, I believe that's one of the ship's running lights, so it's stern light. And this is a mast for one of the flags. What's interesting about these compasses, they're actually located on these platforms like this, and at strategic positions like the back of the ship, because they want to keep them as far out of the ship's magnetic field as possible. Because this ship's actually an iron-hulled ship, and its magnetic field would interfere with the reading of the compass. There are actually a lot of ships that were wrecked because of interference with their compass due to magnetic fields. I believe there's actually a wreck of a ship off the coast of Ireland very early in the age of iron-hulled ships. It was caused by interference from the magnetic field with the compass readings. But just looking here, you can see the compass itself, you can see the directions. So we're facing south, and the ship's stern is actually facing southeast and east. And you see right behind us, there's the light, and there's the cruise ship again. This is the ship's steering wheel, and you can see actually another compass located right near the steering wheel. And you see the ship's name, Eagle. Another look around front. There's the bridge that had the computer and stuff in it. There's, I believe, a castpin or something of that nature. And just to look up at the rigging of the sails, you can actually see there's some, it looks like they're domes for radar or communication. There's the Danish flag, the POW flag. And the flag, the rainbow flag, wasn't sure what it was. I think it's some type of signal flag or something of that nature, but I have no idea. And you can also see all the rigging that they would use to climb to the top. There's actually a crow's nest way up there. This is the main steering wheel of the ship. I believe that's actually the ship's helm, so there's probably a compass in there as well. And you can see the red and blue balls, or red and green balls, indicating starboard port. Originally equipped with an engine that was the same as they used on the diesel submarines in World War II. So it says it's a MAN engine. I'm not sure if it's the original ones they probably replaced now, but that's power plant with old money. And there's one of the ropes beside it. And this looks like it's actually a ship's galley, so there's some sinks. Actually looks like it's where they clean the ship's dishes. There's a garbage disposal down there. There's a whole bunch of junk and cleaning supplies, rubber gloves. There's a soap dispenser. Another look at the side of the ship. I actually talked to one of the crew members. They said that this was a ship that the Coast Guard uses for training. So it's actually full of cadets. And they send it around the world as part of a goodwill tour. So they'll be housing ambassadors and stuff like that on this ship. You can see the cables are used to tie the ship to the pier. You can see that blue hose there, that's probably used to take on water or possibly to take off some of the ship's refuge. And here you can see the ship's stern, so the ship's nameplate Eagle. And there's one of the ropes used to tie the ship to the pier, the ship's railing. There's some portholes from some cabins. There's the lifeboat. Actually a dent in the ship right there, so I wonder if it might have hit something. And looking there, there's the ship's rudder, so there's probably 1920. That's probably in inches rather than in metric because it's a U.S. ship. That would tell you how much water the ship is drawing. You can actually see a small sailing schooner, a couple small sailing schooners in the background. And here's a look at the cruise ship. Not as interesting as a sailing ship, but quite a bit larger. We'll actually get quite a few cruise ships here over the summer. I think this is the third so far this season. See the ship's bridge, the wings of the bridge, and there's a Danish flag on top, along with the ship's radar.